Bam, we're recording. Cool. So the first thing that we're going to do, we are trying to currently make a Pokemon app using Active Record. We're going to model a many-to-many relationship. The first thing we should probably do is discuss what the relationship looks like. So first, let's go to a whiteboard and just take a look at that. We're going to have 3 data types, 3 tables. We are going to have, this one is going to be, actually I think I could type it, Pokemon. And let's see if I can make that bigger. Great, we're going to have Pokemon. We're going to have, we'll leave that one blank for now. And then we're going to have user. And really that should be a Pokemons. Pokemon plural is Pokemon. Not that Rails knows that. Does anybody know what this join table is going to be?
Favorite Pokemon?
We're just going to call it favorites. Oh, whoops. So then let's discuss each of the data types we want. We want a Pokemon to be able to have a name. We want a Pokemon to be able to have a type. And we want a Pokemon to be able to have, and let's talk about what data types these are. That should be a string. We could do type. We'll call that a string. And then here we could do maybe we could do a like Poke ID, like the one that would be in the Pokedex. We could do is a integer. Cool. Then favorites. Well, let's do users first. A user is going to have a name, and a user is going to have a password, right? What is favorites going to have?
Pokemon and users?
Right, so each favorite is going to have a Pokemon. And what's the data type going to be in Active Record?
References.
Great. And it's also going to have a user references. Cool. We have a data model. Maybe it would be good to draw just like some of the many-to-many stuff here. So a join table is like a one-to-many. And this is like a one-to-many. Boop. And a user will have many Pokemon through favorites. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and start coding. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our Pokemon Active Record directory, which y'all don't need to do. That's just my way of organizing. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone down that folder. So git clone, and I do have it already set up. Letting that do its thing. And then I'm going to open up. Actually, I'm going to open up the Pokemon Active Record stuff. Whoops. Code dot. Duh. Cool. Now, I don't want this all to be under boilerplate AR setup, so I'm just going to highlight all these and drag them outside, which y'all don't have to do if you're pressed for time, but I like doing that. That way I don't have a million clones of that on my computer. Cool. So now, in order to get this thing working, I have to run bundle install. But before I run bundle install, I'm going to change the name of my database. I'm going to call it Pokemon app database. Great. Give that a save. And then what else do I have to do to this before I even bundle install? I don't know. I don't have to do it before I bundle install, but I also need to add a library folder. So I need to make directory library, and then I also need to make a directory library/models. Cool. So now if I look in here, I have my models. I'm going to go ahead and bundle install now. So I like to do bundle install and bundle update. And I'm running those. By the way, this is a code along, so just stop me if you can't keep up. Like literally just blurt out in the middle of the lesson. That's exactly what I want you to do. You have my permission. Great. So we have that all created. Next, what do I need to do for active record? I have to create some models. So let's do that. Let's create 3 models. We're going to have a, let's see, we're going to have a Pokemon .rb, and let's actually go ahead and make that lowercase. Cool. We're going to have a user.rb, and we're going to have a favorite.rb. Cool. And here, all I got to do is say class. Is that all I need? Am I good on this model?
No, you need set it less than active record : base.
And what does that mean? What does that less than active record : base mean?
You're inheriting everything that's available in active record.
Everything that's available in its base submodule. Cool. So now we have class favorite. I'm just going to copy this over so that way I get all this stuff. And I'm going to change this to user. Give that a save. Give this a save in case I forgot. Do another copy here. Change this to Pokemon. Should all of these be singular or plural? No thoughts from anybody?
Singular.
Good. Why?
Because.
So that's fine.
That's differentiate between singular and plural. So it's gonna be singular for the class, but then once you get into the I guess the tables, that's when you make it plural.
Great answer. Perfect. Cool. Awesome. What's going on with my database right now? Do I have a database?
You need a migration.
How do I create a migration?
Rake db dot migration. Oh yeah, create _ migration. And then, do you need name equals?
I don't know. For me, I don't. But I think some people do need it or it breaks. So
Yeah, I had to put name equals earlier.
So first, I always like to create, just to FYI, the things that I'm referencing first. And then create the thing that's being, create the thing that's referencing those things afterwards. So for example, favorite references both of these, so I'm going to make favorite last. So first I'm going to create Pokemon table. So yeah, I do. And some of you all might need, I'll do it the other syntax as well. Cool. The other syntax could be rake db create migration and then do like, I think it's name equals. And then you could do, I don't know, let's call this create users table. Bam. Rake db create.
Oh, spelling.
Where?
Rake.
Can't believe I didn't see that. Create migration, and then we'll call this one. I could do the name convention. Why not? Right? So we'll say name equals. Let's do create favorites table. By the way, does everybody notice that when I'm referencing a table, I'm always keeping it plural? Really, I should have said Pokemon's table, but intuitively sometimes I know that Pokemon is technically plural, but Rails doesn't know that. It's actually okay here if you mess up the name of the migration. You can call the name of the migration whatever you want. There's another spot where you can't mess it up, though, which we're about to get to. Now is where I would go and do my good old create table Rails, just to get that like do block thing. Not that. Something like this, right? I want to get this. This is the goodies I'm looking for. So right here would be where, am I in the right file right now to start making changes to my migration?
Nope.
No, I gotta be in,
Migrate.
bam, bam. So we're gonna create the Pokemon table first. So here it matters. It matters that this is Pokemons. Because pluralization is how Rails figures out what's what. So what did we say our Pokemon was going to have? We said our Pokemon was going to have... Where was that 8? I don't remember where that drawing was. I lost it. It went away.
It's name, type, and Poke ID. But I thought you couldn't use type for some reason.
That's a great call. You can't. And that's because it's a reserved word. So we have name and we are going to have type, right? So here I want to call this type, right? Well, I can't call it type literally just because this is a reserved word in Rails. So what we're going to do is call it Pokemon type. So we'll do that. And then what was the last one?
Poke ID.
Poke ID. Call it Pokemon ID. And then that should be good. Great. So let's get these guys. That's our
Is that an
Pokemon.
integer, Sean?
Yeah, I was going to say, is the ID an integer?
Definitely. Minus 10 points for John.
Sorry.
No, it's this John, not that John. You did great, Jazzy John. Glad you caught that. So now I have to create the users table. What do I got to change on here? Well, I'm going to have to change the table name, right? So we're going to call this users. I'm going to have to take, the user is going to have a name and a password, right? So for now, we'll just keep the password as a string. So we're just going to call it password. full. What needs to change here this time? Oh, whoops. That should be inside of here. Sure, all of them are inside of there. Oh, yeah, I did the same thing here. Wow, I did that on all of them. That was not smart. This needs to be inside of def change. I accidentally overwrote it. So I'm just going to quickly retabulate that. Bam. Bam. Always make it clean. Got to do it here again. Tab that in. Def change. Great. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Well, does that look good? What does our favorites table need to look like? I'm gonna start calling on people. Kelsey.
So you're gonna change users to favorites, plural,
Cool.
and then T references. So instead of string, it should be references
Great.
for both of them. And then the first one's Pokemon, second one is user.
Cool. Is it going to be Pokemons or users? Or like, I'm sorry, is it going to be Pokemons or Pokemon, or is it going to be users or user?
They're gonna be plural
Plural? Why?
because we're calling on the table.
Yeah, it's actually not that. So we're
Okay,
saying
opposite.
so we're saying each favorite references a Pokemon. Each favorite references a user. That's how I remember it. But I just thought it was worth a quick gut check. So now we're going to see if everything runs. Not Rails, rake db migrate. What does migrate do? If these are my blueprints, what does rake db migrate do? Eric?
Let's see. Would it create a table? I'm not sure exactly.
You're pretty much right. So these migrations that you're creating here, these are the blueprints to create the table. Think about building a house, right? I'll get the blueprints for the house, and then I'll actually build the house. Building the house is Rails DB migrate, or I'm sorry, rake DB migrate. Writing the blueprints is rake DB create migration. So right now, I have nothing in my database. When I type in rake DB migrate, let's look at what happens to this folder here. Ready? Boom. It's like saying, let me call on all the workers, and we're actually going to go out and build these tables. And now it built two things. It built this file, which is just my SQLite file, which is why you can't really read it. And it built this schema file. This schema file contains the data for what my table looks like. So for example, I have a Pokemon table. My Pokemon table has a name, a Pokemon type, and a Pokemon ID. Cool. My users table has user and then username, user password. Cool. And then my favorites, basically all I could put in is a Pokemon ID or a user ID. Awesome. So now let's start seeding some stuff and seeing if it works. So when I seed, I like to keep on the left is where I seed, and then on the right, I'll do like my schema. So that way I can look and see the data types that I need. What kind of thing am I going to create first? Pokemon, users, am I going to create can I favorite something before I create it? No, so let's start with users. I'm going to go user.create, and then name is going to be John. Password is going to be John's password. Great. Let's create a few users and see if we got that to work. And I'm going to put here user.destroy all. So that way when I rerun my seeds file, it reseeds those. Cool. I'm going to make another user, call it music. Password is, what's a good password? What's your favorite band, music?
Oh gosh.
One of them in your top 5. You don't need to do the absolute favorite.
Can we just go with an artist?
Yeah.
Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys is my girl. Let's get it. All right. Marcos, what's your favorite band/artist? Actually, I'm going to do it different. Doesn't look very
AJR.
bad. What?
AJR.
AJR? Cool. Sweet. Snake case it. Great. Cool. So let's see if this runs. How do I run this seed file to where it hits all the required things? Because if I just do Ruby, let's see, DB seeds, what's that going to do? What's the problem that I'm going to run into? Let's see. It's going to say, where is this user? And that's because I'm just running this file. It doesn't know anything about the other files. That comes into play when we use this whole environment thing, right? So we need to, it'd be nice if I had some kind of command that I could run from my terminal that runs this seed file after running my environment.rb. Any idea what that might be? Jack?
I was stretching.
What?
What's the question? I was stretching.
How dare you stretch in my class? I'm just kidding. How do I run this seeds file?
Rake DB seeds.
Beautiful. Let's throw a binding.pry in here so that way we can mess around with it. Great. Let's see if I have, let's look at all my users. User.all. Cool, I have users. Thin vertical slice 1, check. Bam, what am I going to check next? Let's do Pokemon, right? So now we're going to create a Pokemon. We'll do name is going to be Pikachu. I'm going right off here. This would be where I would normally mess up, try and write type, but I'm not going to because I have it right in front of my face. Pokemon type, we're going to call it electric. Pokemon ID, I don't know what it is. I feel like it's like 4. Great. Let's make a few of these. Let's go. I think Bulbasaur is number 1, right? Grass. 1. Let's do all the starting Pokemon. Charmander is number 2, right? I don't know if that's right, but whatever.
He's 4.
Oh, what? Is Pikachu number 1?
No.
Pikachu's 25.
Because of the evolutions,
Oh, man. I feel dumb. Well, whatever. For now, Squirtle is 3. And Squirtle is not grass type, though. I could never do y'all that disservice. All right, let's see if we can run our seeds file again. Hooray, all my Pokemon got created. So I'm going to type in Pokemon.all. Hey, look at that. I got me some Pokemon. I'm excited already. Gotta love Pokemon. Exit out of that. How am I going to create a favorite? Anybody have an idea? Favorite.create. What do I put in here?
we'll put in the Pokemon ID.
This?
Right? Don't you need a Pokemon and the user?
I realized something really confusing about this example, which is that there's going to be 2 Pokemon IDs. That's really bad, I think. I'm gonna do. This is not a good thing. The fact that we have Pokemon ID in here is not good because you're referencing it somewhere else, and this is not the same thing. Like, I want this Pokemon ID in here to be the auto-incrementing Pokemon ID. I think it'll still be fine, but for clarity, I'm going to undo. Plus, then I could teach you all how to undo anyways. So I'm going to type in rake db rollback, And then I think I could even type in step equals 3. So I roll back 3 times. See what it does. See how I got rid of all the stuff I did in my schema? That's how you want to undo things when you're working with active record. Let me just show you that in here. Rake DB rollback, if you ever get stressed out, just hit rake DB rollback, and then it will go back 1 migration. Does that make sense? Cool. So what I want to change is I want to change this Pokemon ID to Pokédex ID. So that way, when we actually run into that, it's not going to be an issue. Because technically, inside of my join table, I'm going to need to reference a Pokemon ID, not a Pokédex ID. So, in fact, let's just we can scrap the Pokédex ID for now. We'll worry about that at a different time. I'm going to now type in rake DB migrate again. And watch, I'll have my beautiful schema back. Look at that. That's one of those things where the first time you get tripped up, you start to feel like, oh, fuck. I already did so much stuff, and now I don't want to change anything. But a lot of times it's just as simple as doing something like that. So it's not really a big deal. So when you get good at it, it's not as time consuming to stress over.
Hey, John, I just want to make sure I understand what was impacted. So that undid the migrate and the DB seed command.
Now I don't have, it doesn't, when you do rollback, I'm not sure what it does to the seed, but I'm pretty sure it undid the seed. We can check. How can I check? Well, let's turn off this destroy all, right? And let's see what I have. So I'm going to put a binding.pry right here. So it hits it first. My hunch is we don't have anything, because I think when you get rid of all those tables, it probably clears the data inside. But let's see. So here I'm going to type in ready. Whoops. Pokemon. Yep, cleared everything.
Yep.
User.all. No biggie though.
And now you have to just rake DB seeded again, and then it goes
Yep.
back.
Yep, I don't have to do any of that by hand now. I do got to get rid of these Pokemon IDs though, because now I can't, it's not accepting Pokemon ID. Then favorites. What am I missing from all of this? Probably would be nice if I like did something to store these, right? Like what if I said John equals that? Music equals that. Marcos equals that. So here I could be like, and this makes it a lot easier to see the afterwards. Pikachu equals that. Bulbasaur equals that. Charmander equals that. Great. And then lastly, Squirtle equals that. Cool. So maybe I want to create a favorite. Maybe one of my favorites is Pikachu. So let's look at what we have here. We have Pokemon ID and we have user ID. So I can go Pokemon ID and let's say I just want Pikachu.id. Because remember, I don't know what this ID is until Active Record creates it. It's auto incrementing, right? So that means that if there's 3 Pokemon in the database, the 4th Pokemon is going to be an ID of 4. But I don't actually know what that is by heart. Plus, when it reseeds, it might start from 5. So it might be 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's better for me to like reference the thing that I created than to just hard code a number right here. User ID, I could just say equals John.id. Now, something that you might not have known you could do is there's also a shorthand for that. with, instead of doing Pokemon ID, you could just do Pokemon equals Pikachu and user ID user equals John. But also, I think Marcos really likes Pikachu. Trust me on that one. So let's create a few favorites, right? We got Marcos with Pikachu. Marcos also likes Bulbasaur. Music likes Charmander, obviously. Adorable little lizard. Great. And I am just mixing some up here so we have some data to work with.
So, John, I think for music on both ends, you put her as the Pokemon.
What?
You put music as the Pokemon.
Wow. You're a Pokemon now.
Yay! What type am I?
I don't know, like the Jigglypuff. You sing. Your name is music, so that makes sense, right? Does Jigglypuff sing? Yeah, Jigglypuff is the sing. But you don't put people to sleep. You paralyze them or something. Maybe you could burn them with singing. I don't know. You get to decide which Pokemon you want to be. Well, I think it'll work. Let's see. Let's seed them. Break DB seed. Oh, fucked up something. Oh, you know what? It doesn't like this. It works. This works in Rails. It does not work in Active Record. So I got to go to all these. 1, 2, 3. And I got to go ID. And then here, I'm just going to do a .id. 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 I think that this is something you might only be able to do in Rails and not in Active Record. So sorry if I confused anybody with that. We're going to stick with user ID and Pokemon ID. Does everybody know how to do the multi-cursor and see the value in it? Good, good, good. So now I just have to correct this stuff. By the way, there would be less corrections for me to do if I worked in thin vertical slices. But I swayed. So let's see. DVC, and we got all our Pokemons and users. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in favorites all. So here are all my favorites, and they look pretty gross without any other information, but that's okay. So now, if I were to, let's say I were to type in John, right? John is me, right? Can I get the Pokemon? If I were to type in John.Pokemons, would that work? It
I don't think
breaks.
so.
Why? What do I need to fix in order to make that work?
You need to go through the joiner class. Currently, Pokemon doesn't know who you like.
But Active Record should go through the joiner class for me. How do I tell Active Record which joiner class to go through? All right, well, here is where that whole has many and belongs to thing comes in, all right? So we can get Active Record to do all that for us if we just write a few lines of code here. So our favorite, let's look at our relationship. Well, I can't, but let's say it looks something like this. This is going to be a hideous representation. This is going to be our many. We're going to have Pokemons, favorites, and then users, right? And then here for there we go. That's our one-to-many. Kind of looks like tables. So let's think about this for a second. Our Pokemon has many favorites, but it also has many users through favorites. Our favorites belongs to users. Our favorites belongs to Pokemon. So let me get rid of this, and I think that's how I think of it though. So I will say that a favorite belongs to Pokemon, and it also belongs to a user. So a favorite belongs to a Pokemon and also belongs to a user. Think that'll work. Then what I should be able to do is go into my Pokemon class. And remember this thing right here that I made? Bam, I conveniently happened to copy it over. So a Pokemon has many favorites. That should not be capital. I don't know why it defaulted to that. And it's going to have many users through favorites. Then our user has many favorites and also has many Pokemons through favorites. And let's see if I fucked anything up. I'll give myself a 25% chance. Cool. So now I'm going to type in John.Pokemons. Hey, look at that. Let's look up music.Pokemon since I'm pretty sure she had more Pokemon than me. Hey, look at that. Charmander and Squirtle. Let's see if it matches our data that we made. Cool. So we have Charmander, Squirtle. And that's it. That's all that music favorite is.
I have a question. So in the first one, you said the favorite class has a belongs to and only belongs to a single Pokemon and belongs to a single user.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Pokemon, you said has many favorites, like plural.
Yeah, so let's think about it like this. Do you remember the blood oath problem? So let's say I was a member of aspiring member of a cult, right? In the blood oath problem, I could make an oath to multiple cults, right? So that meant that I could pledge to like Charles Manson's cult, but I could also pledge to like, I don't know, what was the one that was in like Texas or something? The Waco, Texas cult. I could make a pledge to either cults, but each one of those was an oath. And that oath tied in one cult and it tied in one member. So you can think of a favorite the same way. Each favorite ties in one Pokemon to one person. And then if you want to have multiple Pokemon per person or multiple people per Pokemon, right? Then you do that by creating more instances of favorites.
Okay. So it makes sense that has many has plural for favorites and has many has plural for users and
Exactly. That's the part where it's like really more of like you're asking yourself, okay, should this be plural or not based off of like how does this sentence work? Is kind of how I think about that.
okay.
But yeah, this is a many-to-many relationship. This is it. This is all you got to do to get that many-to-many relationship.
Okay.
You mind just flipping through your syntax real quick, John, on those?
Which ones?
The favorite started in your model.
Yeah. So let's
Want to triple check.
So look, we have user. Our user has many favorites, right? Because let's think about it like as a website, right? I'm going to be able to favorite multiple Pokemon. Then I have multiple Pokemons through my favorites table. So that means that each favorite that I have represents, a Pokemon.
Yep, that makes sense. Just the convention of through colon threw me off.
Oh,
What does
yeah,
your favorite
that's
.rb look
weird.
like?
That's one of those things that I forget unless I look it up or unless I'm teaching it and have to commit it to memory or look like a dumbass. So just so you know, like if you don't remember that perfectly every time, that's not a huge deal. Just be able to look it up and work your way through it.
Cool. Can I see the favorite .rb real quick, please?
Sure. Do.
So then you would write after you would create all of this, and then you would write your methods for your app.
Right. So now that I have all this working, I could start making an app pretty easily, right? If y'all want, what time is it? 2? Do you guys have any classes the rest of the day?
Intro to Git. Christine just sent out a link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all should go to that. We covered everything we needed to cover. That is all the active record practice you need. The rest of things I can do would just be bonus. This is all the information you need to get started on your project. Like, I think y'all should get started and then come up with questions as you go. But also learn about Git. Go learn about Intro to Git. Go. Be free. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all so much. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, John.
Need to stop sharing.